Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you is about creating and maintaining leverage in relationships. Power, in its purest form, comes from the ability to control circumstances and outcomes, and one of the most effective ways to ensure this control is to make others reliant on you. This law teaches that to solidify your position of influence, you must cultivate a dynamic in which people need you more than you need them. By becoming indispensable, you ensure that others cannot easily replace you or move forward without your input. Dependency is the cornerstone of power because it binds others to you, creating a web of influence where you hold the crucial threads. The first key to keeping people dependent on you is to position yourself as a source of something they cannot easily obtain elsewhere, whether that be knowledge, skills, connections, or resources. In any relationship, if you provide something vital that others are unable or unwilling to obtain on their own, you hold a significant amount of power. This can be something tangible, like access to certain networks, or intangible, like emotional support, expertise, or strategic advice. When people come to rely on you for these things, they are less likely to challenge you, abandon you, or betray you. The moment you become replaceable, your leverage diminishes and with it, your power. It's important to recognize that this law is not about fostering shallow dependency, but about cultivating long-term reliance. It's about weaving yourself into the fabric of other people's lives and operations in such a way that removing you would cause significant disruption or loss. To do this, you must embed yourself into multiple areas of value. For example, in a workplace setting, being good at your job isn't enough. Others should depend on you for your ability to solve problems, navigate office politics, or manage key relationships. The more essential you make yourself in diverse aspects, the harder it becomes for anyone to imagine moving forward without you. Another layer of this law is about creating the perception that you hold the keys to something valuable. People may not always need you, but if they believe that your involvement or resources will be crucial at some point, they will keep you close. This is especially effective when you hold unique knowledge or skills that are difficult to replace. By being the person with access to specialized information, or by having a unique understanding of a particular process or problem, you establish yourself as the go-to person. Others may try to find alternatives, but if your expertise is difficult to replicate, you remain indispensable. However, keeping people dependent on you also requires a careful balancing act. You want others to need you, but you don't want them to feel trapped or manipulated, as this can breed resentment. People who feel coerced or manipulated into dependency may look for ways to undermine or escape your influence. To prevent this, it's important to make the relationship feel mutually beneficial. You should appear as a benefactor, someone who genuinely adds value to their lives or work, rather than as someone who is controlling them. If they see you as the provider of something that improves their situation, they will gladly continue relying on you without feeling the need to break free. This requires a subtlety in approach where your value is clear, but your control is not overt. Maintaining dependency also involves managing perceptions over time. As you make yourself indispensable, you must guard against becoming too transparent in your efforts to maintain control. People may begin to see through the dynamic and attempt to free themselves from your influence. To counter this, constantly evolve your role, adding new layers of value or finding new ways to support those around you. This keeps the power dynamic fluid, ensuring that others are never fully aware of how reliant they become on you. By staying one step ahead, you ensure that the dependence grows deeper, even as it appears less obvious. It's also important to note that creating dependency doesn't mean you always have to be at the forefront. Sometimes, the most powerful position is one of quiet influence, where others don't fully realize how much they need you until a crisis emerges. By being the person who can swoop in at critical moments and resolve issues, you not only reinforce your indispensability, but also create a lasting impression of your value. When others see that their success or stability hinges on your contributions, They will go out of their way to keep you within their orbit. In personal relationships, this law plays out in more subtle ways, but the core principle remains the same. Emotional, financial, or social dependence can be cultivated, making it difficult for the other party to envision life without your presence or support. However, this should not be done in a way that appears overtly controlling or manipulative. Rather, you should position yourself as the person who brings stability, joy, or opportunities that the other party values highly. When people feel that you add something irreplaceable to their lives, whether that be emotional security, access to social circles, or financial support, they are far less likely to sever ties with you. One of the most dangerous things you can do in the pursuit of power is to make yourself expendable. People in positions of authority or influence often fall into the trap of becoming too comfortable, assuming their position is secure. But when others realize they can move forward without you, they will quickly seek to do so, either out of convenience or ambition. To avoid this, you must constantly remind others, either directly or subtly, of your importance to their success. This can be done by consistently providing value, solving problems, or showing that your involvement is crucial to the functioning of the operation. In essence, you must always be working to reinforce the perception of your indispensability. However, be careful not to overextend yourself by trying to be everything to everyone. Dependency, to be effective, must be carefully managed. If you spread yourself too thin, you risk diluting your value and becoming a jack of all trades, master of none. Focus on creating dependency where it truly matters. In key relationships and areas of influence where your contributions are most crucial. By concentrating your efforts, you ensure that your power remains concentrated and difficult to replace. Moreover, the law teaches that the ultimate form of dependency is when others rely on you not only for what you provide, but also for their own sense of identity or purpose. This is the deepest level of control, where the lines between their success and your contributions become blurred. When someone cannot see themselves achieving their goals without your involvement, you hold the ultimate leverage. This is the pinnacle of influence, where you are no longer just a provider of resources or skills, but an integral part of their worldview and self-image. Reaching this level requires patience, strategic relationship building, and an acute understanding of human psychology. Lastly, this law serves as a warning to never become too dependent on others yourself. The more reliant you are on others for your own success or stability, the more vulnerable you are to being controlled or manipulated. Always maintain your own independence, even as you cultivate dependency in others. This ensures that you remain in a position of strength, capable of moving freely and making decisions without being beholden to someone else's power. In conclusion, Law 11, learn to keep people dependent on you, is a powerful strategy for ensuring that you maintain leverage in all of your relationships. By making yourself indispensable, you create a dynamic where others cannot easily move forward without your support, skills, or resources. This allows you to maintain influence without resorting to force or overt control. As long as people need you more than you need them, you remain in a position of power, able to shape circumstances and decisions to your advantage. The key is to provide ongoing value, manage perceptions, and avoid becoming too dependent on others in return. This is how power is maintained and expanded over time.